Alright, so hopefully we're live here. I actually don't know because all of the information I can find about how to live stream on YouTube is from like 2013 and they've changed everything since then. So I'm pretty sure we're actually live now. Welcome to the Best Investing Apps live stream about how to beat any Stash Invest portfolio. And the reason I wanted to make this was because earlier this morning I saw that one of you signed up for a Stash Invest account. It gave me a little alert and it was like, someone you've invited has signed up for Stash. Great. That's awesome. I'm really excited about that. I'm glad that whoever that person was decided that Stash was the right option for them. And of course, if they decide later that it's not the right option, it's pretty easy for someone to change investment accounts. I would know because I have like a dozen of them from testing all of these different apps for you. So many investing accounts. Actually, the hard part is getting rid of them. The easy part is getting new ones and moving around. Anyways, I'm going to sip on my pumpkin spice latte and talk to you guys about how you can pretty easily beat an account like Stash. And the reason is because essentially what you're doing is you're paying for Stash to make the investing process easier for you, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, like there is a monetary value assigned to having someone else teach you how to invest. Whether you buy a book on investing or you go to a financial advisor who does it for you, or if you go to Stash Invest as an app and you pay them to invest for you, that might be worth something to you because you don't feel comfortable, you don't feel confident. If that's the case, then essentially what you're paying for is help with your investing. And in this case, it's in the form of an app. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I want to make note of that right off the bat. I'm not condemning anyone for needing help investing or for paying for that help in the form of an app. If that's what you want to do and that's what you're intending to do, then that's totally fine. Just know that that's what's happening. Now, in the case of Stash, they're charging you, if you have a monthly balance under $5,000, I'm looking at the actual write-up right now, so I don't get the numbers wrong. If you have less than $5,000, they're going to charge you $1 per month for a regular brokerage account or $2 a month for IRA balances under $5,000, so investing or retirement accounts. So that adds up to $12 a year, and how much that actually costs you depends on how much you have invested. If you've got $10 invested and it costs you $12 a year, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. In that case, you'd probably be, well, first of all that aside, $10 invested isn't going to do you a whole lot, but it's still okay to only have $10 invested. Sometimes we can only invest that much. So anyways, the more you have invested, the less of an impact that $12 a year might have. If you've got $5,000 invested, then $12 isn't a whole lot. So anyways, that $12 is essentially coming out as you paying Stash to make the investing process easy. But you can avoid that altogether by using a totally free app like Robinhood. There is no charge on Robinhood or M1 Finance, which recently went totally free as well. M1 and Robinhood both aren't going to charge you anything at all. But they also aren't going to make it easy in the way that Stash does. The Stash essentially makes it to the point where you can go in and you can click, like, I want a dividend investment, and then it gives you a dividend investment. It automates it. It makes it easy to invest in. You don't really have to know anything about it. And it can just kind of happen on its own. So that's the advantage of Stash. Or you do that exact same thing and you could just go to Robinhood and invest in it for free. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. So this right here is exactly, oh, there goes my charging cable. This is exactly why and how you can beat Stash instantly. And it's not too hard. You just have to know a little bit of what you're doing. So I'm going to pull up the Stash app right here. I'm going to log in. Ta-da. Okay, here's the Stash app. There's that tasty $25 in my Stash app doing all the work for me. We're going to go to discover more investments. Boom. So here's a list of Stash app investments. Let me just pick one. How about the inflation defense investment? Cool. So here's the inflation defense investment from Stash, and we can go to their website and find the same stuff, or in their app you can find the same stuff. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of scroll down. There's a whole list of information here. Near the bottom it says investment name. This is like the worst way ever to show you guys this. Investment name. If I get a lot of interest in this, I'll make an actual video where I actually share my screen so you guys don't have to look at it on the phone. So the investment name here is Vanguard Short-Term Inflation Protected Securities ETF. What the hell does that mean? It sounds really confusing, but it's not, because underneath it has a ticker symbol. So this whole investment that they're calling inflation defense up here at the top, as if they like invented it, right? It's not. They've just renamed VTIP, which is a Vanguard investment for short-term inflation protection. That's all they did. They literally went out and they were like, here's a ETF that already exists, made by Vanguard. We're going to rename it Inflation Defense, and then we're going to sell it to people for $12 a year, which is essentially what you're paying them, $1 a month. They're selling this ETF to you. So now that I know it's called VTIP, I can go find out anything I want to know about it pretty quickly. In fact, I'm going to show you right now. VTIP, type it into Google, and I'm going to try to switch screens here real quick. Whoop. We're going to go to the, I'm not very good at this, sorry guys, right screen. Okay, here's VTIP on my screen in Google. All I did was type in VTIP, and here it comes. I can see everything that I want to know about it, including performance, which doesn't really matter in this case. I can see dividend yield, open, close, high, low, blah, blah, blah. I can go to Vanguard's website. So this is the fund company, the parent company that runs this fund. I could just go and buy it from Vanguard. You could open a Vanguard account and buy it from Vanguard totally free if you wanted to. So I can go to, let's see, where's the Morningstar? Oh, here it is. I can open up the Morningstar, which is by far the easiest and best way to get a load of data about it. So I can pull up VTIP on Morningstar. So it turns out that Stash didn't invent this inflation protection, and I'm not sure that they're really claiming that they did either, but I think a lot of people are under the misunderstanding that that's how it's working, and it's really misleading, in my opinion. So anyways, here's VTIP. Now, how do I get VTIP without paying Stash $1 a month to do it? How else can I do that? Well, I could totally just go grab it on Robinhood or M1 without a problem. Boom, I'm back. Ta-da! So I can go grab it on M1 or Robinhood, and I'm going to show you in just a second how to find it on Robinhood, which you probably already know how to do if you have a Robinhood account. If you've ever used Robinhood, you already know how to do this. I'm going to open up my Robinhood app, and I'm just going to type in VTIP. And remember, Robinhood doesn't charge me $1 a month to do this. I can have $5 to invest, and it doesn't matter because who cares? What I might miss out on is fractional shares, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So I'm going to search up VTIP. Come on, phone keyboard. VTIP. Amazing. There it is. Ta-da! So here's VTIP on Robinhood, totally free. I can snap some up right now. I'm going to have to buy them at $48 per share, so you're going to need some multiple of $48 to actually purchase them, which is where you come into the problem of fractional shares, which I've talked about in a lot of my videos, and you can actually get around that by using M1 Finance. M1 Finance allows you to invest in fractional shares, so you don't have to buy an entire share of it. So if I want to go over to M1 Finance and buy VTIP through M1 Finance, I can do exactly the same thing that Stash Invest is doing without paying monthly and without having to buy an entire share like I might have to if I was doing it on Robinhood. So that's kind of nice. So that right there is essentially how you can outperform. And the reason that that's going to outperform every single time is because you don't have $1 a month coming out as an account charge. Depending on how much you have invested overall, that dollar can make a really big difference on your total gains in your account. So I think it's really important to know that. Now, if you want to use Stash Invest because they make it easy to navigate or essentially do some level of teaching or helping, I guess I wouldn't really call it teaching. They're just simplifying the process for you. Then that's fine. Maybe that's worth $1 a month to you. But what they are simplifying is not necessarily very complicated to begin with. All you have to do is just look at the ticker symbol that they're essentially renaming and then just go buy it yourself. And I don't think that's too difficult. It's certainly not too much to ask of an investor. I think if you're going to choose to invest money, you should probably know how to do that. Like, you should be able to search through your investments to figure out what the underlying investment actually is and understand what you're invested in. I don't think that's a lot to ask of an investor. I think it's kind of dangerous to have your money in the market if you aren't at a educated level to be able to understand that. It might be dangerous to have your money in the market that way. I don't know. I think lack of education can be quite dangerous in the investing world.